Hello, and today we will be doing a video on this respirator. This was sent to me by Hype, so a big thank you to him. And this is the BRIZ-4301M. So there's a little label on the side. Now hopefully this camera will focus on it, because the webcam does not focus on that at all. But yeah, so it's a BRIZ-4301M. So the easy way of thinking of this, it's a modernised PPM-88. So for those of you that don't know, around the same time the GP7 and PMK were coming out, there was a respirator called the PPM-88, and it's kind of also known as the GP9, although I don't technically think it's meant to be called the GP9. And it was a very good, for the time, Soviet panoramic respirator, right at the time of the fall of the Soviet Union. However, sadly it seemed that, the Soviets didn't mass-produce that when they mass-produced masks of not as good quality, really. Main thing of the PPM-88 was it was a panoramic lens. Now, this is essentially just a PPM-88 made from better rubber with a better face seal. But best of all, it actually has good straps on this. So one of the big problems with the other generations of the Soviet masks, if you think the original GP7s and everything, was the stupid strap system. I know a few people like it, I really don't. So this has proper straps, where you simply pull them and loosen them with a sort of buckle design. What most masks were doing. So this particular one was manufactured in 2011 by the look of it. There's a couple of different dates on different parts of it, but it seems most of these are from sort of 2010, 2011, 2012 I've been seeing anyway. So as you can see from the inside, it looks pretty similar to a PPM-88, but you'll notice that the sort of rubber face seal is a lot better on these than it was of the sort of original GP7 sort of PMK style masks, where they had that stupidly big floppy inner rubber face seal. That is just really uncomfortable and gets in the way. Now this also might be a NATO thread. I'll test that because Hype asked me about this to see if it was or not. So first of all we'll do a GOST filter on it just so you can see it perfectly working. So there's your screw thread. Here's a GOST, dropping it. Here's a GOST filter. This is a Chinese TF1 filter it's called, which is a good way if you want to get a sort of modern just vapour and particulate GOST filter. They're pretty good for that if you want just a safe filter to use on GOST masks. So, pull this bit on, push this tight into your face, pull down here, and then that gets, but there you need to do a couple of bit more adjustments to the straps to get them right. Then tighten both of these sides, and then if you can get purchase on it, tighten this one, but I can't really get this to tighten on my head very much, because I guess it's already pretty tight on that regard. So there you go, the voice diaphragm works. As you can see, it pressurizes, and there's all that. So yeah, this is pretty good. Let me get the banana oil and just double check this is fully working, but I have no reason to doubt it. And then we'll banana oil check the NATO filter on it. Yeah, that's working absolutely fine. So here'll be the more interesting bit, testing the NATO filter. But yeah, good field of view. Of course, with a black nose cup, you always see a bit of that. You can obviously, about here is where my vision starts getting sort of cut off with blinders, but you can still see forward very well. The filter doesn't prevent you looking down too badly, although it still does have that issue, like most bottom-loading filter masks have. But all in all, this isn't a bad mask at all. I think I prefer the straps on this and how it feels slightly to the Zelensky Mag 9 or whatever it is called. That does have some pros compared to this mask, but this is kind of the tried and tested Soviet design, even if they didn't quite get it right the first time. So, here's for the interesting bit. Take this off. And a new Draeger filter to open, which is a Draeger ABE2K1 P3 NBC filter. So there we go. Now for the interesting bit. Let's see if this will actually go on here and make an airtight seal without me forcing it. Seems to be screwing in alright so far without any resistance. There's that. It's pressurising. Now let's do a vapour test. Yeah, I can't smell the banana oil at all, so cool. This does seem to be a NATO threaded style Russian mask if you want to get them. Because apparently it's basically just that Russian industry more for export. there's a mask in 40mm NATO, not GOST, which makes sense. Just as you can get industrial filters made by Western companies in GOST for selling to like Russian markets, which is kind of funny. So yeah, here you are. This is a BRIZ, and I'm going to look on it again because I forget the name. The BRIZ-4301M, but basically, and it says EAC CL2 on there, but basically this is a PPM-88 with basically better straps, and I'm assuming all of these, unless they have different designations, are made in 40mm NATO, not GOST, which is always a good thing for most of the world trying to get filters that fit a mask. Now, I'm sure that there is probably versions of this, I'll point this out now, that are in GOST. That I'm sure BRIZ still make versions of this for the internal Russian market that are in GOST. So obviously be careful if you're buying it, that if you want one that's NATO threaded, if that's a key selling point for you, you do get one that's definitely the NATO threaded version. Because I can already imagine now people will be complaining at me like I spent a load of money on this mask and I got a GOST one. So make sure you check and probably ask the seller if you're not sure, just so you can get a money back guarantee if they send you one that's actually GOST threaded. But this one definitely, as hype thought, is a NATO threaded one, because I've just opened a brand new Draeger sort of modern German filter, although it's obviously expired and a few years old, but it's a modern, you know, unified Germany filter, Bundeswehr filter, whatever, and it goes on absolutely fine. So, and I said no resistance, couldn't smell banana oil, so as far as I'm concerned this is a NATO thread in here. And if I compare this just to this, so you can see, you should hopefully be able to see that one of these is NATO and one of these is GOST, with the thread pitch being slightly different. I never know how obvious that is to the camera, but you kind of get used to looking at that a little bit with your eyes. But yeah, you can tell the thread pitch is slightly fatter on this one. And obviously, like a few people have said, oh no, it's that Western nations make GOST filters, and no we don't unless they're for export. So yep, there we go, this is a Draeger one. Now it might turn out to be something really strange, like this is a Draeger not 40mm NATO filter, but a Draeger, whatever that old 40mm thread was that apparently works for both GOST and NATO. But the point is, I'm pretty sure that if these are the export market versions, BRIZ has designed them for 40mm NATO. So there you go. As I said, not loads to say about this mask, but it's pretty good for what it is. You know, if you like the PPM-88, then I would say get one of these if you can, because you'll probably end up paying less for it, and it's a new mask in good condition, or a few years old in good condition, you know, with modernisation to it, rather than buying the old Soviet one that's, you know, a bit meh. But, as I said, the PPM-88 is one of my favourite masks of the Soviet sort of period, just because it's one of their most well-made masks. Also notice that has an oral nasal cup in it, another good feature that's not in many Soviet-era masks, so it's good they included that. I can't remember if the PPM-88 had an oral nasal cup or not, because GP7 certainly didn't, and PMK1 certainly didn't, which were masks from the same time period. But anyway, it also, if you're a fan of the Metro games, the GP9/PPM-88, you know, are the masks that are often seen in, like, the Metro games being worn, which makes sense from the time period the games are, you know, all the books were written in, whatever, and set in. So yeah, if you want a cool sort of Russian civil defence style mask, then this is a pretty good one.